During 1966, as Operation Rolling Thunder intensified, American and Australian warships joined in the campaign against North Vietnam. Operation Sea Dragon attacked more than 3,500 land targets, including bridges, railroad yards, and truck parks. More than 300 coastal defense and radar installations were damaged or destroyed. The attacks were fiercely resisted by North Vietnamese coastal artillery batteries. During the 2 years of Sea Dragon attacks, the guns would hit 19 ships. None were sunk, but several suffered serious damage. In early February 1967, President Johnson declared a 6-day halt in attacks on North Vietnam. The North Vietnamese immediately raced supplies and men to the south, as they had done during every pause before. Ho Chi Minh replied to Johnson's offer of negotiations with a demand that the bombing stop completely. Ho made no promise that even then he would talk. Ho's rebuff left Johnson frustrated and angry. It was now a contest of wills. To increase the pressure on North Vietnam, Johnson sanctioned attacks on a new list of bombing targets. American planes would attack the North's airfields, power plants, and industries, while the Navy's Operation Sea Dragon would be expanded. It was a major step towards an all-out campaign. The U.S. and Australian warships of Operation Sea Dragon were allowed to extend operations from 19 to 20 degrees north. Aircraft were sent to mine river mouths and later inland waterways as well, up to the same line. Haiphong Harbor, however, the North's most important port, would not be mined until 1972 to avoid the risk of sinking Soviet ships. The new targets for U.S. bombers were the airfields, power plants, and industries of the northeastern quadrant. Some targets were inside the previously prohibited zones around Hanoi and Haiphong. The American attacks on North Vietnam's airfields began on April 24, 1967. By the end of the year, all but one of the North's MiG bases had been hit. The attacks inflicted heavy damage on runways and installations. There were furious air combats over Hanoi and Haiphong as every available MiG was thrown into action. After the airfield attacks came the strikes on industrial targets and power plants. 32% of the North's electrical power generating capacity was cut, but the remaining plants were adequate to supply most of the North's small industrial plants. By now, the weather had improved, and the bombers now ranged freely, hitting old and new targets again and again. In May 1967, as desperate battles raged in the skies over Hanoi and Haiphong, the Americans shot down 26 North Vietnamese fighters. North Vietnam's pilot strength had been halved.